Hey, it's Soul with a featured add-on that is so cool that it deserved its own video. It's called Soundtrack, and it lets you customize the music that you want to hear in-game based on factors like where you are and what you're doing, and in a way it transforms the way that you experience the world of Warcraft. It's more than just an in-game music player. You can tell it to read situations like being in battle, or having the auction house window open, or when you're in specific zones and subzones. Even using certain emotes can trigger different music or sound effects to play. I'm going to talk you through how to set this up, and then go over its options and capabilities. A link to the add-on is in the description below, and you may also need to have Java installed. A link to that is also available. Hit the like button, subscribe for more WoW content, and let's set this thing up. Use the CurseForge link that I provided, or use your favorite add-on manager to download Soundtrack if it's available there. Once it's installed, you'll have two folders related to the add-on, Soundtrack and Soundtrack Music. So that's step one. Next step is to add music. Which brings me to a bit of a drawback of this add-on. You need to have this music locally downloaded, and it has to be stored in the Soundtrack Music folder. Folks who are short on hard drive space where they store WoW might have a little issue with this, but if you don't, let's keep going. You can dump music right into this folder, or if you have a big library, you can organize them via folder, however you like. I do strongly suggest that after you decide how you want to organize your music, that you don't change it. The add-on is told where music is, but if you move stuff around, rename files or folders, the add-on will forget, and you're going to have to probably reassign all the music whose paths that have been altered. So measure twice, cut once, is what I'm saying. Once you've thrown in a few tracks to play around with, we now have to create a file that World of Warcraft can read so it knows where to find the music. You can open the README file in the Soundtrack folder as an offline guide. The add-on creator set up a few different methods to add music, and I'm going to show you two ways. In the Soundtrack Music folder, there's this file here called Generate My Library. You may or may not see that .ps1 extension, that's kind of a preference thing. Anyway, on Windows, you right-click this and then click Run with PowerShell. If you're on a Mac, you need to access your terminal, access this folder, and then run generatemylibrary.bash. Once that's run, go over to the Soundtrack directory and you should see a new file called My Tracks, and that means this method worked. If you don't see the file, then we're going to have to try the other method, and this is what I had to do. First, make sure that you have the latest version of Java installed. Then, from the Soundtrack Music folder, go into the Legacy Library Generation folder and then run Music Manager. You're going to see a welcome screen, hit OK, and then you get this window. All you need to do now is press this button here, it's second from the right, that when you mouse over it says Generate Library. When you click on it, it should create the file and your music has been added. If that also doesn't work, there's a Python method. Now I haven't tried this myself, but if you have Python installed, run the Generate My Library file from this same folder and that ought to work. If that still doesn't work, well, your best bet is to contact the author for help. Whenever you add music, you're going to have to rerun this process. It might seem a little bit annoying now, but this doesn't take very long to get used to, and later you'll just be adding music to your folders, running the script, and that's kind of it. As a reminder, your best bet is to add things. If you start moving music from one folder to another, or start renaming files or folders, you're going to lose whatever associations that you created inside the add-on, which we're about to get to. Now let's get to WoW and play with the add-on. Load it up and make sure that you have both Soundtrack and Soundtrack Music turned on in the add-on menu. You'll also want to make sure that music and sound effects are turned on in World of Warcraft and to also adjust the volume to your preference. In-game, you can access the Soundtrack menu through this minimap button. In our examples, we're going to use a bunch of different video game music, and you can see it in the track library here. For the purpose of testing, I also have this UI open that shows tracks playing, the duration, and all that stuff, and you can have that off if you want to. Anyway, here in the menu, you can use the search box to filter by file name, the artist in the metadata, or the album, which is the folder that you had named. If you don't see the music, then something went wrong with importing the music, so double check your steps. Anyway, clicking on a song in this menu will play the track as a sample. Try this out on a few tracks to make sure that your sound is working. At the bottom of this menu are a bunch of tabs: Battle, Bosses, Zones, and more. In each tab, you can fine-tune what you want to play given the certain condition. So let's start with a normal mob fight. There are different sub-levels that let you play different music depending on how much higher of a level the mob is compared to you, but I'm just gonna keep it simple and edit the parent tree. Let's pick one or two tracks, and then we'll get right into a fight. Soundtrack does is read the state of your character, in this case combat and what you're in combat with, and play the assigned music. If nothing is assigned to these conditions, then nothing changes. Whatever music is playing is going to keep playing. And when combat is completed, the music will change back to whatever you set it to or the original WoW music. Notice that here is a section for both boss battle and boss low health. So if you want to, you can assign your favorite boss battle music, but when the boss is down to say like 20% health, the music changes, maybe to something more intense. Under the Boss tab, you can select music for specific bosses, but you can also leave this alone and just edit the boss options that I mentioned before instead. Under the Zone tab, you can set a general playlist per continent, and then make it a bit more specific depending on where you're going. All of Kalimdor can be assigned something, and maybe when you walk into Orgrimmar, maybe you'll assign music like this.
I am the son of the wind and rain, thunder beckons and I heed the call.
Then if you want to switch to another character who happens to be hanging out in Stormwind, then the music will sound like. In capital cities, there are specific sections that can be assigned their own music as well. Valdrakken has a certain bustling but easygoing vibe, so I assigned it to play some of my favorite music from Final Fantasy XIV. But when going into an inn, it can be something else if I want it to be. Or when I access my auction house, can you name the mount known far and wide that sold for a price that's too damn high with the soul? Or when I hop onto my dragon riding mount and I take off into the sky. Obviously, I've been having a ton of fun with this add-on, and there are loads of possibilities, but I should also point out the usual bugs and issues and conflicts. This add-on defaults to using the music channel, and you can optionally set events to play off the sound effects channel so there's no interruption to the music. In some cases, assigning events to be a sound effect will bug out. I'm not going to make an example here, but if you want to set something to play when you mount up, and it's set up as a sound effect, the add-on is going to make non-stop calls for that sound, resulting in this really awful echo. However, this works just fine if you set up a sound effect after a battle, as in victory music. So you want to be careful when messing with the sound effect option, or just don't use it at all. It just means as multiple events are happening, music will cut itself off. It would be cool if I can change the way that this add-on outputs the sound too. It defaults to using the music channel, followed by the effects channel if you use the option, but I would like to have all the sounds come out of one channel or the other. Or make it not unlike Deadly Boss Mods, which uses the master channel. Because personally I don't like my effects to be super loud, but it also means I won't be able to really hear music assigned to play as a sound effect. Finally, and this is just me nitpicking, the music volume can be pretty inconsistent. This is obviously my fault though. Like, if the music that I've got has different standards of volume level or quality, I'm gonna get what I get. It would be cool to have a kind of feature that normalizes the volume, but I think that's a little bit too much to ask here. All in all though, this is a really cool add-on. I'm definitely going to use this to play some boss music in the background and have a bunch of different tracks when I'm flying around. I definitely get that nostalgic feeling when I'm, like if I'm out in the overworld, I summon my airship or whatever it is and the music shifts. That's a different and really cool kind of vibe. This add-on has more depth than I really could take advantage of, but I bet that there are some folks out there who would love to tailor every location in WoW with a few favorite tracks, or set something fun for when they're dancing on the mailbox or something. I hope you give this add-on a shot. No, I am not getting paid to do it, but I thought that this was a lot of fun and I wanted to share. Leave a comment and let us know what you think. Like the video, subscribe for more content, and I'll catch you later. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy.